All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black for everything y'all doing. Thanks for out. Thanks for being. Sorry for my lateness. But greetings, people of Rockfin. Hello, hello. How are you? So on as well. Is it crap? Let me know. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. Check. All right. Okay. Is that better? Are we good? Okay. What is y'all talking about in the Rockfin chats? The Rockfin chats. What is this? What is this? Oh, I don't know what that is. House subcommittee. Is that that's what I'm looking for? Okay, the sound is better. Okay, thanks, Obsolete Optics, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I named the show Smell Nino because I smell El Nino. I just put it all together, which is where we're going to go first. What is wrong with El Nino? Or, you know, what's the problem? Why is everybody afraid of El Nino? Well, because we've been in a La Nina, which is generally a cool period. If you're up on your science, on your meteorology, and you know, have a small amount of climate science in there, you understand that El Nino usually brings warmer temperatures. Heat comes out of the ocean and affects the weather globally. But La Nina, generally a cooler period. And what's been happening during the last 3 years of La Nina? We've had record-breaking warm temperatures. Sorry for the solar flare, you know, my apologies. The solar flare people or the heart people or the whatever. So that's not what it is. What it is that the planet is getting hotter. That's just what it is. The planet is getting hotter. Anyways, we have been setting record-breaking, you know, we've had record-breaking temperatures during the 3-year period weather period in which we were supposed to have cooler weather. And so what everybody fears is that when El Nino comes, it will bring with it much hotter temperatures. What could we possibly see? That's what people are afraid of. We have, massive record-breaking heat waves and heat events going on all over the planet during the supposedly cool period. And when we get to definitely the warm period called El Nino, it might actually, the logic is it's going to be that much hotter. That's the logic. From Doomer Girl News, didn't want to believe it until I had more data, but signs are looking like the coming El Nino will be Eastern Pacific in origin. While only the AU model is saying Super El Nino right now, the possibility alone should be causing alarm bells to ring. We are not prepared. So, and there are types of El Ninos, mild to strong. But put this in your climate science pipe and smoke it. We have massive amounts of heat going into the oceans because that's the place that's absorbing most of the heat of the planet. The extra radiation, the extra heat, and carbon is being soaked up into the oceans. What does El Nino do? El Nino releases the heat from the oceans. So there's a whole lot of extra heat in the oceans that's kind of saving us from feeling uncomfortable right now. And so when you have El Nino and you have your heat pumping out of the oceans, and there's a lot of extra heat in the oceans, how much heat could the oceans release? That is the question. Anyway, she goes on to, basically say what I've been saying. The world has been in a La Nina period for the last 3 years. Normally cool years, they have been anything but, tying the records of the last Super El Nino. El Nino this year was always going to make this the hottest year on the planet humans experienced. Right? So it doesn't look good, right? Nadia says it doesn't need to release, it can just stop absorbing. Sure. But that's generally what happens during an El Nino. The heat wells up from deeper regions in the ocean and comes to the surface and releases the heat. And then there you go. Do we have something else on this? I don't know. There's another interesting article floating around about again from Doomer Girl News, but I had several iterations of this news story that's been out. Arctic sea ice thins in 2 big jumps. Before 2007, 19% of the sea ice in the Arctic was at least 13 feet thick. That's a lot of ice. That's thick ice. But now only about 9.3% or less, or about half of the ice is at least that thick. And the age of the ice has dropped by more than a third, from an average of 4.3 years to 2.7 years. So we know that, and that would be under, file under sea ice volume, not extent. Arctic sea ice thins in two big jumps, now more vulnerable. Climate change attacked crucial Arctic sea ice thickness in two sudden big gobbles instead of steady nibbling. A new study says a little more than 15 years ago, sea ice quickly lost more than half its thickness, becoming weaker, more prone to melting and less likely to recover, according to the study that emphasizes the importance of two big regime shifts that changed the complexion of the Arctic. Those big bites came in 2005 and 2007. We're not even talking about 2016, are we? Before then, Arctic sea ice was older and misshapen in a way that made it difficult to move out of the region. That helped the polar area act as the globe's air conditioner even in warmer summers. But now the ice is thinner, younger, and easier to push out of the Arctic, putting that crucial cooling system at more risk, the study's lead author said. Before 2007, and I'm not going to read the same thing twice. I mean, interesting news. However, what's been happening lately? How thin and vulnerable is the ice now? How thin and vulnerable is the ice now? Let's look at some video here. This is often played, often seen video. Just because the World Economic Forum has a little watermark here doesn't mean, oh, this video is from the World Economic Forum. No, this video is actually, there's several iterations of it all over the place, and it doesn't have anything to do with the World Economic Forum. They just pumped this out and put their watermark on it. But this is, sea ice 1994, right? Going forward in time. That's a while ago. 97. This will flow all the way up to present times and get a whole lot smaller. So they were talking about 2005, 2007. Look how small the dense, the thick ice is. That's the white. Going forward now, the thick ice is pretty much, almost gone. In 2016 gets super low. And then from there until present times. That went up to 2019. So it is NASA satellite data. Yeah. It has nothing to do with the World Economic Forum. They just, again, if anybody wants to say something stupid, go say something. Say something. Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with them. They just put it out and put their watermark on it. That doesn't have any bearing on whether the data is correct or not. I'm sure some people, NASA put it out. NASA. Okay. Not every single thing is fake. Some things could definitely go in that direction. But there's too much evidence from too many places about all of this going on, so. If it was only satellite data, okay, but it's not just only, there's pictures of glaciers gone. There's so much other data out there. There's, shipping lanes completely open to Russian, American, Chinese tankers, from all over the world. These lanes are open now. It's, places we couldn't sail before, we can suddenly sail. Because there's no ice there. Now, they wouldn't be doing that if there wasn't any ice. That's just, another confirmation. So it's not fake. It's real. Okay. Nobody's making this up. Those are several points of data in which you can put together and say this is true. That's how it works. For the people that want to be selective about when they want to use science, science is good when it supports my point and not good when it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. More from Doomer Girl news. Salmon fishing banned along California coast as population plummets. I wonder why that's happening. I can tell you why. It's getting warmer. It's because the warm water is bad for the little salmons, the little baby salmons. Salmon fishing banned along California coast. It's only the second time in history that ocean salmon fishery has been closed in California. Although north of California, in Washington and Oregon, they've closed salmon fishing quite often. I think more than 2 times, right? But the population is plummeting. Salmon population is plummeting. And most of the population plummeting of many fishes going on right now is because of warm water. What were we just talking about? The ocean's absorbing a lot of the heat. Why are they absorbing heat? Because it's getting hotter. Anyways, it's only the second time in history the ocean salmon fishery has been closed in California. The decision reflects a major decline in fish populations after the state's driest 3-year period on record. People who depend on salmon fishing said the closure will bring economic hardships for many in the industry. This whole situation is really depressing, said Sarah Bates, who fishes with a commercial boat and usually sells her catch through a community fishing association in San Francisco. The Pacific Fishery Management Council, a multi-state quasi-federal body that decides on ocean fishing seasons, adopted proposals to close the fishing season at a meeting last week and is expected to formally approve the closure at a meeting in early April. The National Marine Fisheries Service also announced that the coastal sport fishing season, which had been scheduled to open in most areas on April 1st, will be canceled through May 15th. Fisheries officials have cited the nearly record low numbers of fall run Chinook salmon that returned to spawn in the Sacramento River last year. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife said the estimated number of 3-year-old adults that are likely to return to the Sacramento River this year to spawn is less than 170,000, one of the lowest forecasts in 15 years. That officials have been using their current assessment method. The only other time salmon fishing has been entirely shut down along the California coast was in 2008. We don't have enough salmon this year to have a season, John McManus, president of the Golden State Salmon Association, said. Fishing and environmental groups have criticized Governor Gavin Newsom's administration for water policies that they argue have failed to prioritize river flows for salmon. Well, that's funny because I thought all the farmers and whatnot were saying that California is just letting all this water just go down the rivers. Which one is it? I don't know. I'm confused. Environmentalists are saying he's not prioritizing river flows. But that's why you need the water to go down, to flow the way it flows naturally, so that, nature can act as nature, right? We have all the humanoids or the humanists, the humanitarians saying, oh, we got to capture all that water. We got to capture it. We got to capture it because we need it. We need it. We need the water. Well, okay. Steve Breedlove says Newsom needs big ag in his corner if he wants to be president. I'm sure he does. So I don't know. I'm confused. Which one is it? Is it, is big ag really getting the shaft, or are the rivers getting the shaft, or who's getting the shaft? Thanks, Tor. Got a super chat from Tor Werner. Thank you. Says, hi, Kevin. Thanks for your daily show. Appreciate it. Thank you, Tor. Bonham said the low population reflects, this is Chuck Bonham, director of the State Department of Fish and Wildlife. He said it reflects the extremely dry conditions of 2020. Fluctuations in salmon numbers are typically tied to flows in rivers, with wetter conditions helping the fish flourish. He said the storms and high river flows this year should benefit the salmon. In 2010, for example, ample rainfall led to higher estimates of returning adults in 2012 and 2013. So I guess there's a 2 or 3 year lag between the high river flows and getting more salmon. Creative Experiment says on KPIX5 Bay Area News, they said that the homeless people stealing salmon was why the salmon were disappearing. Really? That's interesting. I wonder if that's true. Anyways, that is going on. Real quick. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Good way to support the show is buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. And another good way is the Rockfin tips, and also as the super chats. There are also links in the description box of all the platforms I'm on for Venmo and Cash App. Frank Miano says, as a young man, I'm worried about the future on this earth. Well, I think you are not alone in that worry. Peter Nines talking about nuclear power plants on all the coastlines of rivers and lakes that you're used to. Coastlines are home to approximately 1 in 4 of the world's 460 working commercial nuclear reactors. I think he means ocean coastlines. But they're also nuclear reactors on rivers and lakes. Mostly they need water to be cooled. So building one in the middle of a place where there is no water, like El Diablo in near Phoenix, which is just so dumb, is a just so dumb idea. Coastlines. Anyways, they're set to be inundated by sea level rise this century. Coastlines. Can anyone tell me the contingency plans and why industrial civilizations continues to build more nuclear reactors on coastlines where they might be overwhelmed by storm surge, hurricanes, tsunamis? Anyways. Oh, cool. Thanks. Frank says, my dad and I listen to this channel every day. Thank you. Yeah, Still waiting on the magic energy source, which some people think is it's out there. They got it. They got it. They're hiding it from us, and they might be. I don't actually doubt that. Still waiting for nuclear fusion or fusion reactors to be online. Right now, it's still theoretical. It's yes, they've gotten reactions to last for seconds or fractions of a second. Again, the actual use of these things is still theoretical. Still in the it might, maybe, possibly be a way that we can get energy phase. But we still can't figure it out. We still can't control it enough. We still can't make it happen. And we don't know how long it's going to take for that to happen or if it ever will. Obsolete Optics says fusion still needs fission to produce its tritium fuel. Yeah, so there's no magic energy sources out there right now. It'd be really cool if there were. You know. And if we, hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully it'll happen. Maybe not. Maybe we should start to think about living on a whole lot less energy. It's really not that hard, right? Everyone could probably live on enough energy to be comfortable, but maybe not, an orgiastic consumer of all the things. Maybe not run to the thermostat every time it's just a little cold or just a little too warm. Right? Anyways. Are we going to make it there? Well, we will. We'll be forced to make it there eventually, right? If things go down the way it's looking like they will, then one day everybody will be living with a whole lot less energy and not of their own choice. So, oh yeah, thanks, Ryan. I was actually just unplugging my computer. Apparently the farmers in the Netherlands have won an election there. The farmers that were against the nitrogen reduction. I don't know. There are a lot of takes on this, right? Some people who actually do think that nitrogen is a problem, that we should care for the environment. I think it was Timothy or one watcher sent me a video from the area talking about big ag being behind the farmers' protest, and super likely, right? I mean, agriculture and feeding 8 billion people, it's big business. It's a lot of money. There's big business there. And nobody wants their business messed with. So there's that, right? And then, anyways, the farmers protest, but agriculture as we know it, or industrial agriculture or large scale agriculture, is doing something to the planet. So what are we going to do about that? Again, do you think we could live on a whole lot less energy or a whole lot less abundance the abundance that we expect from our fossil fuel driven industrial civilization? Again, we'll probably end up in a place where we will be forced to understand completely and utterly what that means, whether we, choose to accept it or not. Tor says, when will the powers that be let you have 10,000 followers on this channel, Kevin? They won't. They won't. I have, they won't on Rockfin, on YouTube, but on Rockfin they will. I got a lot of followers on Rockfin. What do I have? I have like 6,000 followers on Rockfin. So, kudos to Rockfin and big ups to Rockfin for being ad free and allowing me to have a organic following. I have 17,000 followers on Rockfin, and I still can't crack 3,000 on YouTube, which is which Rockfin, Rokfin, Frank, is a alternative video hosting channel. I'm also streaming on Rockfin right now, rockfin.com. And you don't have to even sign up for an account to watch me there. So you watch me for free, ad free there. Right. So, which points to the fact that, that makes it fairly obvious that YouTube is censoring, suppressing, and doesn't like my channel. So. Check. So, really, Poppy? YouTube shut Sandy and ECH down? Really? Like, shut down their channel? For what? What did they say? I can't believe that they... I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised that... what did they say that could possibly have YouTube shut them down? I don't really... Because I don't, YouTube doesn't seem to censor. Oh, 7 days suspension. But what'd she say? I'm just curious. She titled something Overshoot? Really? Huh. That's interesting. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's not like super controversial. I've had, several of my videos demonetized, and I've also had several of my videos pulled. Not talking about climate change, talking about other things. And they've retroactively given me like warnings and taken down videos that I have posted like years ago. They're like, oh, we don't like that, what you said there. Like, all right. All after the fact and stuff, but well, maybe that's it, Poppy, because that's one of the reasons why I come up with like kind of strange, titles for my video that are a little obscure. What I'm talking about might be a little obscure, or might be or funny. I stopped titling my videos exactly what I'm talking about, right? I never title my videos. She shared a risky link by accident. Oh, okay. Huh. Interesting. That sucks. That sucks. Anyways, Malicious link in a 6-month-old video. Oh, okay. Got it. Interesting. What was I saying? I can't even remember. Who knows? Oh, I was saying I title my videos, like I kind of try to be just funny and a little bit, obtuse. I never, ever, ever title my videos like the news story of the day that I'm talking about. I just try to be silly about it. And I think that goes a long way towards keeping them off the trail. Because if they see something in your title, like, huh? Right? Or they're talking about the, what? Bank runs and, exactly, what verbatim, what's going on, the news of the day. What? Yeah, then they, they'll really like focus in on that. But my titles are always like, what does that mean, smell Nino? Who knows? I think that offers me a lot more leeway as far as like saying whatever, And I don't say whatever. I just, I do try to be careful for YouTube's sake. Anyways. Yes. Master of espionage. That's me. All right. Anyways, the farmers have won. I'm sorry, I completely went off the rails on this. Farmers protest party wins shock Dutch vote victory. They've stunned Dutch politics and is set to be the biggest party in the upper house of parliament after provincial elections. The farmer citizen movement was only set up in 2019 in the wake of widespread farmers' protests. Remember, these protests have been going on for a while. It's only lately that they have been, very, like they're kind of a cause célèbre for the right or for the anti-WEF, people. Yeah, they're fighting back. Farmers are fighting back against the nitrogen thing. But this has been going on for several years, even prior to 2019. So this is a long fought battle. I'm not, on one hand, I do think that agriculture and the way that agriculture is done should be changed radically. I think it's, it is destroying the planet. On the other hand, I support the protest energy of the farmers. So I'm a little torn on this one. I'm not on one side like, oh, F those farmers or F those people. And I'm not necessarily like, I'm not necessarily against the impetus to limit nitrogen emissions either. I think it could probably be done in a better way, and I think that there could be a better conversation about it. I don't know. But I appreciate, yes, obsolete optics. I support farmers dousing houses of parliament in manure. I appreciate that kind of stuff. I appreciate their energy to get out there and organize. And I appreciate them being, having the chutzpah to get out there and make their voices known, which we can't seem to do in the U.S. Don't organize, don't protest, don't vote, don't do nothing. Just bitch on YouTube. That'll change it. With most votes counted, they are due to win 15 of the Senate seat with almost 20% of the vote. This isn't normal, but actually it is. It's all normal citizens who voted. Yeah, so I mean, I think you can. This shows that you can organize yourself to the extent that you can actually have a surprise win. You can turn politics around somewhat. And I'm sure, you know, I know there's plenty of people that are probably like, well, there's big money behind this, or so and so group behind this, or maybe there's a faction of people behind it. I don't know. I don't know. Shocked by the scale of their success, Ms. Vanderplas told supporters that voters normally stayed at home if they lost faith in politics, but today people have shown they can't stay at home any longer. We won't be ignored anymore. Right. So you can actually, you know, can actually kind of turn things in a different direction if you feel like you want to. A left-wing Green Labor alliance is also on course to win 15 Senate seats. So there's that. Voters also turned out in force for the Greens and environmental groups and warned that the Netherlands' problems were not going away. Restoring nature is just as necessary today and tomorrow as it was yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like they're conflicted as well, right? Looks like some people are like, well, we should address this problem, and other people are like, heck no, hands off of our farms. I don't, you know. Anyways, it's been described as something of an earthquake in Dutch politics. Although their policies are very much focused on opposing the government's environmental policies, commentator Ben Coates told the BBC most people would characterize them as a right-wing populist party that was quite anti-EU, anti-immigration, and in favor of banning burqas for Muslims. So, I mean, are they, you know, are they just doing the typical smearing of anybody who stands up for themselves? Anybody who is truly anti-government, right? Oh, they're fascists and they're right-wingers and they hate people. Is that actually true? I don't know. Anyways, interesting story going on there. In France, the police are kind of going nuts. I mean, there's a lot of protesting going on all over Europe. But the police are just, you know, beating on people, women. What the heck? I mean, it looks like she's just standing there. He just came up, hit her with a stick, roughed her up. Now he's going after the... Anyways, it's just kind of a... I mean, there's lots of video of people going at it in France. Oh, and on that note, well, they're protesting the pension reform. And look at this. Breaking news, Macron has decided to trigger Article 49.3 to adopt his pension reform plan without a vote in the French National Assembly. Do you think that that people are going to just take this lying down? I don't see it. Let's see. Kevin Hester says Noah has the La Nina over and us at neutral. BOM have us on La Nina watch. Okay. More on this. The use of Article 49.3 is often described as the nuclear option. This is because there is a possibility that it could cause the collapse of the government. Well, I mean, he's like, I'm just going to do this without the vote, right, of the assembly. And could we see a meltdown like what's happening in Israel, where Netanyahu is trying to supersede, uh, basically supersede the government and do, whatever it is he wants without the input of the government or the people. And the people, including the army and the Mossad, have completely shut down the country because they're like, nope, not so fast. So Macron's like, F it, we're doing it. Pension reform, meaning, they're raising the age at which pensioners get their money, basically taking, saving themselves money and keeping people from getting their money that they were supposed to get at a particular age. So that, is going to surely spark some protest, even more protest. Lastly, we'll leave you with, Lindsey Graham, the lunatic. There's a lot of lunatics that run this country that want to see us go to, escalate the war with Russia. Sean Hannity being one of those people too. Lindsey Graham calls for the U.S. military to launch World War III, shooting down Russian planes in retaliation for the heinous attack on the U.S. homeland that actually took place thousands of miles away over the Black Sea, right? You remember just a day or two ago that the Russians kind of roughed up a drone. Oh, a drone, right? We messed up your robot. Sorry. Oh, that's a reason for war. Is it?
Answer B. Well, we should hold them accountable and say that if you ever get near another U.S. set flying in international waters, your airplane would be shot down. What would Ronald Reagan do right now? He would start shooting Russian planes down if they were threatening our assets.
What would Ronald Reagan do? I mean, that has got to be the question on everyone's minds whenever you have an international incident or anything happen for that matter. What would Ronald Reagan do? These people are so lost. I don't know.
They shot down our drone. What should our answer be? Well, we should hold them accountable and say that if you ever get near another U.S. set flying in international waters, your airplane would be shot down. What would Ronald Reagan do right now? He would start shooting Russian planes down if they were threatening our assets. American foreign, they shot down.
Anyways, that's it. That's all. We don't have to hear it again. These people are clearly lunatics. Lost Adult said its transponder was off, the drone that made it a pirate aircraft under international law. I didn't know that one. Yeah, I've been kind of trying to see what the reality of that was, because I knew as soon as that story came out, I was like, there's something else going on with the story. Like, I don't believe necessarily that they were just, well, we were just flying our drone and just minding our own business, and these Russians came up and they did really bad things to us. Like, I just didn't believe that story necessarily. Although I'm still seeing conflicting takes on it. It looks like Russia did do all the things that the U.S. said it did to this drone. However, yes, if it was operating as a pirate aircraft, then I guess that would kind of change the dynamics of it, right? And we had to come out and say, oh, that it was very unprofessional and mean, right? Well, okay, maybe if we're operating the drone illegally, then, or, as a pirate aircraft, right? If we're operating the drone in a way that changed the nature of the operation, well, then, okay, then that might be considered unprofessional or maybe considered hostile by another entity. So that actually changes the context completely of it. So, I mean, it's we're what's frightening about it is that this kind of stuff is escalating, the situation, right? I mean, we're just supposedly backing Ukraine. We're actually not at war with Russia, right? That's what they're trying to tell you. But there's so much saber rattling and posturing and whatnot about who's doing what and why, and it's fairly obvious that the U.S. is fully engaged in this operation, right? So, and saying things like we need regime change in Russia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Gene, opposition politicians are now likely to request a vote of no confidence in the government, which they must do by 3 p.m. Friday. Regarding Macron. Yeah. Yeah, I don't believe the narrative around this story, not one bit. Not one bit. However, I haven't really seen definitively like what really happened, and this is one of those stories where I am sure, in the next few days or the next week we'll know enough to go, "Oh, yeah, we totally provoked this." Right? Or something like that. Something along those lines. We did something that kind of actually set this off and then tried to turn around and go, Russia, Russia, Russia. Kind of like remember the Crimean Bridge being exploded? Right? That happened, and we were like, yeah, somebody blew up that bridge. Or or Nord Stream 2, or all of those things that have happened in this conflagration have all come out. Oh, look at oh my God, this is crazy. Russia's they're out of control. They're insane. Why did they blow up the Nord? Oh, no, we didn't blow it up. No, we didn't blow it up. Of course not. Looks like Russia blew up their own bridge to Crimea. Why would they do that? Oh, I don't know. Yes, Gene, imagine if Russian drones were flying off the U.S. coast. Right. Yeah, I mean, this is just they're looking for any possible way to escalate this, blame things on Russia, make them look like they're, we're like the two child brothers, like, Timmy and Bobby. Timmy hits Bobby. Bobby hits him back. Oh, look what Bobby did. Right? It's that kind of stuff. Like real grown up kind of stuff. And the pipeline Bob. Yeah, of course. You know the thing, man. All right. I think that is going to do it for me today, guys. But thanks for hanging out. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate y'all. I'll be back tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And until next time, peace.